about somebody that was in this terrible situation, and my mind was totally absorbed in that terrible situation, what I could do. I was in this meditative, how do I help another person mindset. And I remember seeing you, but I was so absorbed, I had my blinders on, and I was so absorbed in this person's circumstance of life, I didn't even, no peripheral vision. I didn't even acknowledge you. And I remembered later feeling badly about that, and now you're telling me, do you not like me? Did I wow, I'm really sorry. But if they hadn't said that, they would just be carrying this feeling that says whatever it says. So sometimes there's an explanation that helps, and sometimes there's apology that helps, but we don't hold the other person responsible for our feelings. We're responsible for our feelings, and then we're responsible for managing those feelings. Okay, part 3. Gosh. So we went through verses 1 through 24 of chapter 8. And 8's a long chapter, so we're going to now go through 25 through 38. And you see a fellow pushing a big boulder up a steep hill. So, is he going to get crushed by that boulder? Or is he going to be able to get the boulder up to the top of the hill? In this section, this termination has to do with Narada examining the determination of Dhruva. And when he finds, sure enough, he's really determined, he gives him the resource to manifest what he wants. That's where this subtitle goes. So if you want to achieve something, even material, what to speak of spiritual, there has to be some determination, and that means there's going to be obstacles, and you have to be very determined, not just to complain and whine and feel bad about the obstacles. He says there's obstacles for anything, even in Vraja. Meeting Krishna can have its obstacles. So get used to it. The goal is not have no obstacles and be happy. Determination is discussed in chapter 6 Bhagavad Gita, in the Dhyan Yoga chapter. And with the process of meditation, yoga, then one requires firm determination. This is the example given in Bhagavad Gita. You're familiar with the image, the story of the sparrow. Some of you may not know the story. And even if you know the story, hear it again and again. So a female sparrow, she laid some eggs near the sea. That was her mistake, not the sea. But the sea, the tide came in. And when the tide went out, so did the eggs of the sparrow. And so the sparrow came to the shore of the sea and said, "Give me back my eggs." And the sea didn't give back the sparrow's eggs. So the sparrow became very determined and said, "You give back my eggs or I'm going to dry you up with my beak." And the sea didn't respond. So the sparrow started taking beakful and beakful and beakful of water to dry up the sea. And she kept at it, and word spread, and Garuda came to hear of this poor sparrow who lost her eggs because the sea didn't give back her eggs. So Garuda came and told the sea, you know what, you give back those eggs or I'll dry you up. Whoa. The sea gave the arrows, the eggs back to the sparrow. So our determination is not the false ego kind, if you're going to be successful. It's the spiritual kind. That is, with full dependence, at the same time, strong, guided by Scripture kind of determination to achieve what the process of spiritual development requires. So Dhruva had it. It was mixed with the modes, particularly passion, but he was very determined. So the section opens. The great sage Narada overheard this news. Which news? That Dhruva went to the forest. And understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. Now specifically it says here, he heard some news. Then in the purport, Prabhupada speaks about he was Trikaligya, so he didn't even have to hear because he already knew. It's not a contradiction. He approached Dhruva and, touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows. So commentary speaks of his virtuous hand. And that's Agha Gnena Panani. So Agha means sin, and Gnena, that's his hand, Panani, can drive away sinful activities and the reaction to sinful activities. So Dhruva had a good head start. He got cleansed by the touch of Narada's hand. Now, why did Narada come? This is now more about the hand. Narada Muni, whose merciful glance never goes in vain. This is from the Canto 6, Chapter 5. Those of you who are familiar with that section, that was mentioned earlier of Daksha. So this is Daksha Part 2. That's my language. He took birth again after offending Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva kindly gave him another head, but it was a little embarrassing. It was a goat's head. And he was previously really beautiful personality. He lost his head, got a goat's head. He died of embarrassment, the Acharyas say. He died of embarrassment. And he took birth again as Daksha Part 2. Same propensity. So he had 10,000 sons and 1,000 sons, the Haryashvas and Savalashvas. So they met, they were instructed by their father, Daksha, to assist Daksha in his Prajapati program. But they had to first qualify themselves to produce good praja, so they went to Narayana Saras, a place where the river Saraswati flows into the sea, and it's a place where many sages would go to do austerities and seek purification, kind of like a holy place. So Narad heard, so he went there, and just by his glancing over the Savalashvas, they got purified. So his touch, his glance, it's like Krishna. The instrument of Krishna can act like Krishna. Krishna's glance is also very powerful. Lord Ramachandra's glance is very powerful. The glance of Narada Muni is very powerful. The touch of Narada Muni is very powerful, being an instrument of the personality of Godhead. Prabhupada comments, any gesture of the spiritual master awakens the desire to connect with and serve Krishna. That is to say, there is such potency. No, some persons have their signal receiver off. so they don't receive that potency. Some people have their signal receiver on, and they receive that potency. But the potency is there nonetheless, receiving it or not. In the purport, same verse, Prabhupada states, Narada is Trikala Gya. He is so powerful that he can understand past, future, and present of everyone's heart, just like the Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, 2 questions. 1, why did he have to hear anything? Because he already knew. Krishna makes arrangements. Prabhupada was once asked this question, Swamiji, it is said that one who knows Krishna becomes the knower of all things. How many windows are there in the Empire State Building? Prabhupada immediately answered, how many drops of water are there in a mirage? Cool, huh? Touché. All right. Then he said, that in another circumstance, the spiritual master knows what he needs to know in order to help the disciple achieve the goal, and that need to know may come from Supersoul within, it may come from some source outside, or some combination. So although he already knows, he also heard, and then he's going to examine. He knows the heart of Dhruva before even seeing Dhruva.